Namaste. Welcome to this session. We are considering antarayas and we have now come to Bhrantidarshanam. So this will tell us what Ishwar Pranidhana can do. Right from Asampragnat Samadhi and its phalam to Sampragnat Samadhi and then Antaranga Yoga, Bahiranga Yoga and then obstacles to yoga. So the enormous efficacy is being mentioned about Ishwara Pranidhana. So now the Bhrantidarshanam. Basically we are all infested by Maya. Maya is delusion. And although human being is said to be most intelligent creature on the planet, and of course in karma yoni, in the whole yonis, the man is definitely one, human being is one who really stands out. And there is no second opinion about it, even in Adhyatma and spiritualism and spirituality, Paramartha. No doubt that human psyche, human manifestation is definitely outstanding in what sense of the term. With regards to knowledge, when the knowledge can be increasing in human psyche, it also goes without saying that misunderstanding too grows equally. In subhumans, the knowledge is limited, intelligence is limited compared to human beings. But then also, they are not fraught with the problems of misunderstanding as much as it is in mankind. So, if your potentials to knowledge and potencies of knowledge increase, it also means that your potentials and potencies to increase misunderstanding also increases, because they are two sides of the same coin, understanding and misunderstanding. So the process of knowledge is such that it does not just bear out the fruit of knowledge or in the form of knowledge, but it is also capable of bearing out fruits in the form of misunderstanding. So the Maya has a greater grasp over human psyche, and therefore now the Bhranti Darshanam can be understood here. Bhranti Darshanam, Viparyaya gnanam, viparita gnanam. So this is what Vyasa tells us. Bhranti Darshanam Viparyaya gnanam, which means viparyasta gnanam, that means illusory knowledge, and even perversion. The perversion is typical to human psyche. The perversion is not found in subhuman species, it is in human species. So it is viparita gnanam, agnanam in some realm, agnanam, viparita gnanam, and viparyasta gnanam. So this is what happens to human psyche. He can get illusory knowledge, perverse knowledge, or insufficient knowledge, or lack of knowledge. It is in the human psyche that we have huge amount of something that we don't understand, and a condition that we understand that we don't understand. So there are conditions such as I know that I know. I know that I do not know. I do not know what I know. I do not know what I do not know. So try to understand how human psyche works in the realm of intelligence. So there will be ignorance about which there will be conditions such as I know that I am ignorant about it on one hand, and I do not know that I am ignorant about it. So see, this Bhrantidarshanam can come in different ways. Vijnana Bhikshu, commenting on what Vyasa says, Viparitam gnanam guruvadi pramitartha viparita nishchayaha. So what the guru, acharya, teacher is meaning to tell us, we try to understand in opposite way of it. Guruvadi pramitartha viparita nishchayaha. And then we also have the nishchayam. So our knowledge also can be nishchita kind of knowledge, that is with a conviction, the conviction, and this conviction can be diametrically opposite of what the preceptor is meaning to say. What the preceptor is trying to transmit, we can be receiving it in diametrically opposite idea of it or notion of it. So viparita gnanam. Then if you look at the commentary of Bhava Ganesha, who is also one who follows Vijnana Bhikshu's interpretation, Bhrantidarshanam Guru Adi Pramitartha Viparita Nishchayaha, and Nagoji Bhatta Bhrantidarshanam Shastroktartha Viparita Nishchayaha. So understanding bang opposite to what the Shastras are saying, understanding in a way which is bang opposite to what the Acharya, the Guru, the teacher, the preceptor is trying to say. So see how it will be devastating if you don't understand something, or you are told something and you don't understand, there is less problem. If you misunderstand, there is a greater problem. If you perversely understand, it is greatest of problem. So it is probable when you are given instructions, when you are taught by your teachers, you may not understand. That is not so dangerous. But then you think you have understood. So trace the problem here. You think you have understood. Or you may even misunderstand. So you might insufficiently understand, or you may think that you might understand, you have understood, or you might misunderstand, or you might perversely understand. And everywhere human psyche has a tendency to have this nishchayam. The conviction will be developed sooner or later. And when the conviction is developed in the human process of knowledge, then it's a concrete structure, and you can understand how difficult it is to really dislodge it or break it. So we have to understand the Bhrantidarshanam in all these aspects. Not understanding, insufficient understanding, wrongly understanding, thinking that you have understood rightly, and understanding it perversely. Human psyche has this aspect, faculty function of perversion. So you will notice that this obstacle in the form of Bhranti Darshana is quite formidable. And it can make a sadhaka with Bhranti Darshana, there can be marga bhrashta possibility. One might derail from the path that is chosen, and yet perhaps not realize that I have derailed from the path. So derailment has taken place, but not knowing that derailment has happened. This can also happen. One can be weaned away from the path of yoga. So the radar will be totally misleading and perhaps can take in opposite direction of yoga, which is of the nature of un-yoga. Not only non-yoga, but un-yoga. So you might drift into something that is non-yoga and perhaps not knowing that it is not yoga. Or drifting into un-yoga and perhaps not knowing that this is un-yoga. You may know it or you may not know it. Both are possibilities here. So understand, if you open out this concept of Bhrantidarshanam, Brahma, Bhranti, so understand its facets, which are probable and possible. So it many times happens that one really doesn't realize that I am off the track, and perhaps doesn't understand that I have gone onto a track which goes in opposite direction. This will be very, very devastating. If you realize, well and good, you might amend yourself. But if you don't realize that you have been misled, and you don't realize that you are misled, this is possible in human psyche. So we can understand how devastating this is. And basically it is because of this Maya, delusion. And it is not easy to identify the Maya, influence of Maya, gravity of Maya by intellectual process of reasoning, process of analysis, or intellectual process. And therefore, it is only grace of God that can really save to certain degrees of Bhranti Darshana. Certain degrees are meager degrees. Somebody can educate you there and help you overcome your misconception. But then the Bhranti Darshana can go to such an extent that no one can help you. You yourself perhaps might think you don't need any help. So Adhyatma many times tells us that he is only our savior for the buddhi process. Maya meta tarantite, Bhagavad Gita he says. So by his anugraha only one can really cross the Maya. Now if this Bhranti Darshana is primarily of the material of Maya, then it is very difficult to overcome. And Bhranti Darshana is such a word, powerful word, that it implies conviction. It implies conviction, and not just knowledge, not just information, but conviction. It is Bhranti Darshanam. Bhranti is one thing, that is Brahma, and that is illusion. Illusions can happen, illusions will be revoked. You don't have to take big measures to overcome illusion. Because of lack of light, you feel that it seems to be a snake, but you put your torchlight and you will come to know it's not snake. So it can be overcome easily. The measures to really clear out any illusion, not every time difficult, quite easy within human endeavor and human effort. But this Vasana Rupa avidya of the nature of, it is Vasana. And therefore, anything on a Vasanic plane, to overcome that, the God's grace is indispensable. There is really no alternative. So Bhagavad Gita says in places such as Buddhi Yogam Dadamyaham, I give them that Buddhi. Maya Meta Tarantite, they will cross over the Maya. The Bhranti Darshana out of Maya can only be crossed by the grace of divinity. Because actually he himself in his Maya is giving this illusion. Ishvara sarva bhutanam bhuddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. He is only rotating us on the wheel of Maya. It is he who is having this Maya. It is his part to create Maya. It is his scheme to have Maya. And then, therefore, we fall victim. Now, if he has cast a spell of Maya on us, it is only he can remove it. So he gives the Buddhi Yogam, or the verse in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sarvasya cham brudhi sannivitha mattaha smritirjnanam apohanam cha. So he is giving the knowledge process, so he can only give the disillusionment process. And in Adhyatma, there is no other person who can remove this. He should be Guru. Guru can only remove it. And who is Guru has already been considered. It is he who is the Guru. Purvesham api guruhu kalena anavachedat. Patanjali has expressly mentioned the gurutattva. It is the Guru principle within us, which is nothing but a divinity itself. It is he only can save us from the Brahma, and that too in the realm of Adhyatma, Paramartha. So that is by being a Guru, by becoming a Guru, removing the darkness and giving the illumination. So, as I was telling you, the quotation from Bhagavad Gita, I was referring to that. The 10th chapter, 11th verse, Tesham eva anukampartham aham ajnanajam tarma nashayami atma bhavasta gnanadipena bhasvata. So he says, I, out of compassion, I remove the ajnanajam tamaha. I remove the ajnanam of the nature of tama, tamoguna, tamas. I destroy it. Nashayami, I destroy it. How? By being atma bhavastha, by being within oneself, by being inside that human being, by being inside the brahmastha, or one who is having a delusion. By being inside him, he does the management by gnanadipa, by the light of knowledge, the effulgence of that light of knowledge. By that effulgence, he removes that tamaha, that andhakara, that darkness, because we are all in spiritual darkness. Whatsoever amount of light we might be having all around, we might be right under the sun, but yet the darkness is inside. Who can remove the darkness? The physical sun in the sky cannot remove the darkness within us. And it is only his anugraha, his anukampa, his compassion, his anugraha, his grace. Now, who does this get the grace here? Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadamya buddhi yogam tam yemam upayantite. So those who are satata yukta, so see the bhakti. Satata yukta avastha is a bhakti. So the bhakti can remove the bhranti. No one else can remove the bhranti. So what is to be noted is that it is Ishvara Pranidhanam, the only means to overcome. Otherwise, or the Guru. And Guru is nothing but, again, a particle of the divinity. So, see how this Bhrantidarshanam has come in Antaraya Prakaranam, the topic of Antaraya, topic of obstacles, and which is directly related to Ishvara Pranidhanam. And even if it is taking place by one's own reasoning, logic, intellectual process, etc., you overcome by your own intelligence. Who is giving this intelligence? So, Bhagavad Gita clearly mentions this. Sarvasya ajam brudhi sannivishtaha mattaha smritihi gnanam apohanam cha. From me ensues all memories, and gnanam, the knowledge, and apohanam is the knowledge process by way of logic, reasoning, analysis, synthesis, extrapolations. So all that knowledge process which is composed of these elements, they are also His grace. So now you can understand how it is so relevant what Patanjali says here. Ishwar Pranidhana working on Antaraya Bhava, and now particularly Bhrantidarshanam. So one needs to develop ananya nishtha in Ishwara, which is a form of bhakti. And that is what Patanjali is implying here. By bhakti it will happen. Just as we have faith, suppose you have faith in Ishvara, it is said that you must have equal faith in Guru. If you have faith in Guru, you must have equal faith in Ishvara, because Guru is nothing but a form of Ishvara, according to Patanjali, which is expressed in his treatise. So I recall a hymn from Shvetashvatar Upanishad 6.23. Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha gurau. Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha gurau. Tasyaite kathita hi artha prakashante mahatmanaha. That spiritual knowledge will dawn, will effulgently will dawn into you. It will have that its luminosity spreading all over your psyche consciousness. How? If you have bhakti in Guru as you have bhakti in Deva, yatha deve tatha gurau, then you will have the highest revelation, realization, and this is reiterated by twice mentioning prakashante mahatmanaha. This is from Shvetashvatar Upanishad. So there's a parabhakti. Ishvara means there is a parabhakti. And similar bhakti should be in Guru. That means treating Guru as Ishvara, treating Ishvara as Guru is what is implied in this quotation from Shvetashvatar Upanishad. So in order that the infection of Bhrantidarshana doesn't take place, it is important to reinforce our Bhagavad Bhakti, Ishvara Bhakti, Ishvara Pranidhana. And for that to be reinforced, what has to be done is Shastra Sangha, Satatadhyayanam, repeated study and contemplation on precepts of all those moksha shastras, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Sankhya Shastra. So we must be constantly contemplating and having a thought process, chintanam, mananam, vimarshanam, on the precepts which have come through Shastras. So there should be constant Shastra Sangha, and there should be constant Sat Sangha, so, and Sadhana Sangha. So Shastra Sangha, Sadhana Sangha, Sat Sangha will reinforce the devotion for Ishvara, because the chitta will become more and more sattvic. Once it becomes sattvic, there is a capillary attraction between the pure mind and divinity or principle of divinity. There is a capillary attraction. And then there is a precept that comes in Chandogya Upanishad, Ahara Shuddhau Sattva Shuddhihi. Now we need to have pure mind. So for pure mind, satsanga, sadhana sangha, shastra sangha is understood that it should be adhered to and it should be progressive. But then ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhi is what Chandogya Upanishad says. Ahara shuddhau. Ahara should be pure. Ahara is all that you have intakes. Intakes to biological body, intakes to your psychological, mental, emotional body. All those intakes, they're all food. The food is not only that you get in restaurants or that is cooked in kitchen. But you have food for intelligence, you have food for mind, you have food for emotion. So all those food should be exclusive, very pure, very sattvic. What is generally called as sattvic ahara. Every kind of ahara should be sattvic. So sattvic ahar, sattvic vihar, sattvic achar, sattvic vichar. So we come back to the same fundamental principles of yoga, which will really work in countering Bhrantidarshanam. So Sankhya Vidya, Gita Shastra, Sankhya Shastra, Yoga Shastra, Adhyatma Shastra, Vedanta Shastra, Upanishads, Moksha Shastra, which is spread in Puranas. So they come handy. It is with that we will be making our mind pure, we will be improving our knowledge process of analysis, process of synthesis, process of inferences, process of comprehensions. So that will be improved. And when that is improved, the mind becomes purer. When the mind becomes purer, it is definitely having affiliation to divine principle within, and that's how the Bhranti Darshana is countered. So that is about Bhranti Darshanam. So it should be understood that it is very formidable force because it is actually Maya, which is not easy to cross over without taking recourse to Adhyatma and Paramartha, Gnana, Karma, Dhyana, Bhakti, the four kinds of yoga. So that's the way. So also Satsanga, Shastra Sangha, Sadhana Sangha, Satvik Ahar Vihar Achar Vichar, inculcating the principles of Yajna Dana Tapa, so which will ennoble our mind. And when the mind is ennobled, it can go towards purity. When the purity is there in the mind, he will remove all the ignorance, he will remove all perverse convictions, perverse ideas. Because the pure mind cannot have perversion. It is impure mind that has perversion. Wherever there is perversion, it's impurity of the mind. So that is about Bhranti Darshanam. The next is Alabdha Bhumikatva, but we will consider that in our next session. So namaskar all of you.